Welcome to the bunker. Welcome to the Renegades of Puck podcast. I'm your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier, and before we get started on the no half step in hockey coverage, let me direct you to our home website, renegadesofpuck.com. Once you're at that website, you'll learn everything you need to know about the Renegades of Puck, and once you click on that merchandise link, you'll have access to all of the incredible gimmicks in our online store. We have our classic logo t-shirt, our pride logo t-shirts, all of our special event t-shirts, our brand new line of jam t-shirts, and all of the other gimmicks you've come to expect and love from the Renegades of Puck. Well over 55 items like throw pillows, socks, wall art, bed sets. We have it all. As a matter of fact, let's just sum it up like this. We've sold out so you can buy in. We sure do appreciate each and every one of you for picking up some Renegades of Puck merchandise. Social media and all of the podcast platforms, it is so easy for you to like, subscribe, follow, and help us out on all of these different platforms. It only takes you a matter of a second. It doesn't cost you anything at all, but it goes a long way to helping us here in the trenches for the Renegades of Puck. So you can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitch and Instagram. As far as social media goes, you can catch our live stream on Twitch. Usually about an hour after the game wraps up, we get online and we broadcast live on Twitch. So follow us right there. When it comes to the podcast, you can find us in video form, Renegades of Puck TV on YouTube. And of course, you can find us on all of your different preferred platforms for podcasting like Stitcher, like Google, like Spotify, and so many others. So please give us the support on all of those platforms. You can become a partner of the Renegades of Puck or just make a donation to the Renegades by going to Venmo and searching Renegades of Puck or scanning the QR code that is currently on your screen right now. We sure do appreciate each and every one of you and your incredible generosity. It's because of Renegades like you, we have been able to not only build the bunker, but we have been able to execute some of our ambitious plans, and we're going to continue doing that. Every donation made to the Renegades of Puck goes directly to funding what we are doing here in the trenches. Built by Renegades for Renegades. You can become a partner today by going to Venmo and searching Renegades of Puck. Now it's time for me to deliver the no half step in hockey coverage. So that means it's time to deliver the goods. It's operation number 667. I don't know what happened to that previous number, but we're just going to move on from there. That's right, it's show number 667 for the Renegades of Puck. And on this date in hockey history, the Nashville Predators currently find themselves in second place in the Central Division after 5 games played. They have a record of 2-1. They have 5 points. They are 1 point behind the first place Dallas Stars. They are 1 point ahead of the third place Colorado Avalanche, and they are 3 points ahead of St. Louis, Winnipeg, Chicago, and Arizona. Minnesota, the only team in the Central Division so far to not record a point on the season. On the road where the Nashville Predators' next game will take place, the Preds have a record of 1-0. They've scored 12 goals in the season. They've given up 16 against. That's a goal differential of -4, while the Dallas Stars, just above them in first place, have a goal differential already early on the season of +10. Once the Nashville Predators wrap up their next game against the Columbus Blue Jackets, the first of 2 in this regular season series, the next will be on November the 28th when the Nashville Predators will be at home to take on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Once that game is wrapped up, Saturday night, the Preds' next game will be against Philadelphia Flyers on home ice at Bridgestone Arena, and then they will have a brief break in the schedule and will not play again until Thursday when the St. Louis Blues make their first visit to the Music City. The 29th of October is when the Nashville Predators will welcome in the Washington Capitals and former head coach Peter Laviolette. The 1st of November, the Nashville Predators begin a lengthy northwestern road trip in Edmonton. The 3rd, they'll be in Calgary. The 5th in Vancouver, and they'll wrap it up the 8th and the 10th in Seattle and Colorado, respectively. That is, of course, the CMA road trip, as we've become customary. Usually, when the Nashville Predators put themselves together and start to gel is what happens on that road trip. So that's coming up here very quickly. Taking a look at the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Nashville Predators' next opponent through 4 games. They're 1-3. They only have 2 points, and they are dead last in the Metropolitan Division. On home ice, they have a record of 1-1. They've scored 9 goals, and they've given up 17 against, which means they have a goal differential of -8 on the season. Since it's such a small sample size, I can take you through everything that the Columbus Blue Jackets have done so far this season. It was back on the 12th of October when they opened up their season with a 4-1 loss at the Carolina Hurricanes, followed up with a 5-2 loss versus Tampa Bay Lightning. That was their home opener. On the 15th, the next night, a 5-2 loss at the St. Louis Blues. And then on the 18th, their most recent game, a 4-3 overtime victory versus the Vancouver Canucks. It was Elvis Merzlikins getting the start in the victory, 32 out of 35 in that game. Saturday will be the next game for the Blue Jackets after facing off against the Nashville Predators. It will also take place on home ice against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Taking a look inside the numbers for both of these teams and how they match up, and to be honest with you, looking at either side of the ledger, it's not a lot of very impressive numbers. The matchup is quite even, so let's go through them and see how the Nashville Predators can find themselves with a couple of points after this game. Goals for the Nashville Predators, 2.40 on the season, is 28th overall in the NHL, while the Columbus Blue Jackets are scoring 2.25 per game. That is 30th out of 32 clubs in the NHL. In goals against, the Preds are giving up 3 per game. That is 17th in the league, while Columbus is giving up 4.25 per game. That is 28th worst overall in the NHL. Shots for the Preds generate 28.8 per game. That's 24th in the NHL, while Columbus is 22nd in the NHL with 29.5 shots. Shots against, the Nashville Predators are 30 per game, 12th best in the NHL, and Columbus is giving up 35.5 per game. That is 28th in the NHL. On special teams, there is nothing impressive about any of these units. The Nashville Predators power play is converting at 4.8%. That is 31st in the NHL, and they are 1 for 21 on the season. The only reason they're not dead last is because of the Columbus Blue Jackets, who are 0 for 10 on the season, have a 0% power play, and are 32nd overall in the NHL. And of course, that is dead last. Penalty kill, the Nashville Predators 14th in the NHL. They've given up 4 power play goals against in 5 games, and the Columbus Blue Jackets are 17th in the NHL. They've given up 2 power play goals against in 4 games. Of course, every team in the NHL has high-skilled individuals, and these teams are no exception. Let's go through the stats for some of the individual scoring leaders on the teams. Gaudreau has 2 goals and 2 assists for 4 points to lead the Columbus Blue Jackets. Boom Jenner at 3 assists, 3 points overall. Nyquist 2 goals, 0 assists for 2 points. Danforth at 1-1 for 2, and then you'll find Gavenkov at 1 and 1 for 2 in net. Merzlikins is 1-1 with an 8.67 percentage, 3.89 goals against average. The numbers are not looking very good for Elvis so far early in the season. Taking a look at the Nashville Predators individual statistics, and Kyle Granlund leads the team in scoring with 5 assists, 5 total points. Nino Niederreiter leads the team in goals scored with 4 goals. He has 0 assists for 4 points, second overall on the team in points. Philip Forsberg, 2 goals and 1 assist for 3 points. L.A. Tolvanen, 1 goal and 2 assists for 3 points. And Ryan Johansson, 1 goal and 2 assists for 3 points. UC Saros now after 4 games, a record of 1-2-1, save percentage of .897, goals against average of 3, and those numbers are simply not where they need to be at this point in the season. We know UC Saros has had some slow starts in the past. Last year, he did not. This year, so far, he is having a slow start. Of goals against average of 3, a save percentage of below 90 after 4 games played on the season. It's simply not where he needs to be, being a Vezina finalist returning to the starting crease this season. So that gets you all set up for the Nashville Predators' next game against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, let's take a look back at the Nashville Predators' previous game, brought to you by Rebirth Sports. Rebirth Sports. You can check out their work at rebirthsports.com. You can find them on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and they are very easy to connect with and get in contact with. You see me wearing right now the road jersey because the Nashville Predators will be on the road for their next game, but you also see me wearing the home jersey, the third jersey, and so many other of Rebirth Sports' incredible jerseys in tournament play, in league play here in Middle Tennessee. It doesn't matter. Whenever I'm on the ice, people are always asking me, where did you get those great threads? And the answer is so easy, and I love talking about it. It's Rebirth Sports. We'll have brand new hoodies coming soon. Some of the Renegades of Puck have already gotten their orders in, and you'll be seeing those make their way out into the marketplace soon. So Rebirth Sports, incredible partners, and I sure do appreciate everything that they do to help us here in the trenches with the Renegades of Puck. Now let's go all the way back to 10/18 of the year 2022 when the Nashville Predators were welcoming in the LA Kings to Bridgestone Arena. John Hines deployed his lines in the following way. Well, it's going to be a repeat of the previous game, but let me tell you what those are. Forsberg, Granlund, and Duchesne Duchesne make up your first line. Niederreiter, Johansson, and Tolvanen make up your second line. Trennan, Sissons, and Jeannot are the third line. Smith, Glass, and Sanford are your fourth line. Yossi and Carey, McDonough, Ekholm, Luzon, and Fabro. UC Saros gets the start net for the Nashville Predators. We are 49 seconds into the first period, and UC Saros comes up with a save on Anze Kopitar from the circle. It's the first shot of the game, and a clean save for UC Saros. 1:32 of the first period. Glass has his first goal as a Nashville Predator, first goal of the season, first goal of the game, giving the Nashville Predators a 1-0 lead over the LA Kings. It was Granlund's great feed from the neutral zone. He swooped around and took an extra loop, delayed just long enough to find a lane and make a perfect pass for a slot shot, and this was a rip on a delayed penalty call on Kevin Fiala, former Nashville Predator. Glass's first goal of the season gives the Nashville Predators a 1-0 lead early in the first period. 1:47 of the first period, Lemieux and Jeannot are off to the box, 2 minutes each for roughing. We'd see a 4-on-4 scenario. I made a note the Preds had better energy to start the game than the previous two games because it looked like they were skating in quicksand the previous two games, so it didn't take much to make me make that indicator of a note here. At 11:21 of the first period, Fabro's off the box, 2 minutes for interference. This took place in the offensive zone. It could have been an incidental contact collision, or it could have been an intentional screen. Regardless, it ends up being a penalty for interference. The Nashville penalty kill is very good. As a matter of fact, Carey denied the blue line, and LA was only able to generate one shot on net. 13:49 of the first period, Niederreiter is stopped by Peterson from the low circle. 14:12, Saros comes with a save on Kempe's long wrist shots. 14:55, Anderson hits the post while driving the net from the sharp angle. 16:27 of the first, Peterson makes a save on Forsberg from the slot. 16:39, Clark is off to the box, 2 minutes for holding on Philip Forsberg as he followed his own shot, rebound, went behind the net, and drew the penalty. Power play generates very little. As a matter of fact, it generates nothing, and I made a note here that will be discussed later. Too much talent to be this stagnant on the power play. 19:37 of the first period, Smith is off to the box, 2 minutes for cross-checking, and that's Cole Smith of the Nashville Predators. We go to the intermission with LA out shooting Nashville 10-5 in the first period. The Kings would have a carryover on their power play of 1:36 going into the second period. UC Saros will come up with a huge glove save on Doughty, flashing the glove. 1:54 of the second period, Rossi's off to the box, 2 minutes for hooking. It should have actually been called on Forsberg, but it doesn't make a difference because the Nashville Predators are shorthanded. But then Luzon's off to the box, 2 minutes for tripping. We see a 5-on-3 scenario for 1 minute and 6 seconds for the LA Kings. McDonough and Carey strong out there on the PK, working incredibly hard. We kill off the 5-on-3 and hit the 5-on-4, and that's when Velarde puts his fourth goal of the season into the net. It was a redirect from the top of the slot through the 5-hole. This was an absolute perfect setup, perfect redirect, and a perfect goal for the LA Kings to tie the game up at 1 apiece. At 5:17 of the second period, Matt Duchene's off to the box, 2 minutes for tripping on Velarde. Velarde really making an impact here in this second period. UC Saros during the PK comes up with a huge save on Kempe at 8:32 of the second period. Philip Forsberg's second goal of the season comes off of a one-timer from the circle. Another Mikael Granlund cross zone, just perfect feed, perfect setup right here, and he was really world-class distribution service in this game. The Nashville Predators now have a 2-1 lead over the LA Kings in the second period at Bridgestone Arena. 13:15 of the second period, Walker's off to the box, 2 minutes for holding. He prevented a great rebound scoring opportunity by the Nashville Predators, one of those penalties that the team probably really appreciates, especially since the PK was able to generate strong pressure and keep the Nashville Predators from really getting anywhere on the inside. 15:22 of the second period, Clark's off to the box, 2 minutes for holding. UC Saros has to come up with a huge save on a shorthanded breakaway by Moore. Impressive save by UC Saros right here. 19:18 in the second period, Peterson comes up with a save on Duchesne at the back door off of another perfect Mikael Granlund distribution. Unfortunately, Duchesne is unable to finish, but just 12 seconds later at 19:30, Tanner Jeannot does put the puck in the net for his first goal of the season, giving the Predators a 3-1 lead on home ice. It was a wraparound opportunity after working along the corners and behind the net, and then gets his own rebound and provides the jam for the finish, putting the puck just inside the post. We hit the intermission after two, the Preds leading 3-1 over LA, and now they are right back in this game in shots on goal. 5 in the first, now 23 shots on goal after the second period. The Nashville Predators absolutely buzzing LA with 17, only 7 shots on goal in the second period total. We go to to 3:55 of the third period. UC Saros comes up with a save on Roy at close range. 4:42, Luzon's off to the box. 2 minutes for cross-checking. Saros has to come up with a save on Kaliev's one-timer from the circle. 8:42, Saros comes up with a save on Deneau. 9:57, Glass takes a huge hit, but is able to negate the icing call against the Nashville Predators, sacrificing his own body to make the play to help his team in an effort to score a victory on Bridgestone Arena ice. 10:12 of the third period, Smith is off to the box. 2 minutes for interference. UC Saros has to come up with a save on Velarde's jam opportunity, and then Saros has to come up with another save on Kaliev, and this game is picking up the pace because we're going to the back of the sheet for the first time this season. At 13 minutes of the third period, Roy has his second goal of the season, making this game 3-2 in favor of the Nashville Predators. Now it was a puck off of a crashing skate and into the open net, and this was just a great job by Roy, driving the net as hard as he could, bringing the no half-stepping effort out there and getting rewarded by going to the net. Niederreiter would hit the post shortly afterwards off of the rush. At 16:08, Victor Arvidsson, former Nashville Predator, would go off to the box. 2 minutes for tripping on Mikhail Granlund. Unfortunately for the Nashville Predators, with just limited time left in the game, Matt Duchesne would pick up a penalty in the offensive zone. 2 minutes for slashing, creating a 4-on-4 scenario for 1:21, and this is where Roy would score his second goal of the period, third goal of the season, tying the game at 3 apiece. It was a wrist shot through the arm. Niederreiter had a broken stick and was out of the play, and Roy was able to capitalize in that very location where Niederreiter had vacated. We've now got a tie game at the end of regulation, and Matt Duchesne's penalty is just absolutely glaring. Too many bad penalties in this game. So for the Nashville Predators, now they are able to earn a point. And at the end of regulation, they are being outshot 33-26. Just an insane amount of pressure, intensity, and shots on goal for the LA Kings. In the third period, they generate 16 shots on net against the Nashville Predators, who had a 2-goal lead. But now we find ourselves in overtime. 109 into overtime. It's Durzi has to be stopped by Saros, who is cutting across the crease and making the big toe save. 2:38, Niederreiter can't finish on the redirect. He had the wide open net to put the puck in. At 3:12, we see Doughty off the box. 2 minutes for holding. Plenty of pressure. Roman Josi getting plenty of shots on goal, but Peterson is able to hold strong. We hit the end of the overtime session. Now LA is out shooting Nashville 35-32, but the Nashville Predators were able to generate 6 shots on goal in the 5-minute 3-on-3 overtime, including the 4-on-3 power play to end the session. We hit the shootout. The only conversion is Velarde for the LA Kings. He reaches around the pad and tucks the puck just inside the post on UC Saros, giving the LA Kings a 4-3 victory in the shootout. And for the Nashville Predators, they had a 2-goal lead in the third period on home ice against a team that was on the second night of back-to-backs. As a matter of fact, they played in overtime last night in Detroit before traveling here. The Preds were coming off 2 very poor performances against the Dallas Stars and really needed to come up with a big performance against the LA Kings tonight. And it looked like for about 50 minutes of this game, they might escape with the 2 points and get themselves out of there and maybe be able to take a deep breath. But this is a troubling situation for the Nashville Predators. I said I wasn't going to be too overly critical in the first 10 games of the season, but this game 5 right here, something in this was extremely disappointing. We'll have full analysis coming up here in just a moment. That was the Rebirth Sports full game recap. UC Saros in this game was 32 out of 35, 14 out of 16 in the third period, and I made a note that the team failed him. The team in front of him absolutely failed. In the third period, the Nashville Predators were unable to keep an LA Kings team that was on the second night of back-to-backs at bay in any way, shape, or form, and UC Saros was simply under siege, under pressure, was able to hold strong in the overtime session, but fell in the shootout. The Nashville Predators were unable to back up their netminder tonight. UC Saros was left out to hang in this one. Nostradamus taking the night off because he's so far ahead in the future. The sun's already coming up where he is by the time this game ended because of the ESPN broadcast starting at 8:47 local time, an hour and 40 minutes later than what a game would normally start. And listen, it's one thing to be in the playoffs and to be in that Western Conference bracket slot and to be in the late slot and end up with a 3 overtime game and not get out of the rink till midnight, but it is fully and wholly unacceptable that this could be happening on a Tuesday night in October. October. People have to go to work. You cannot be asking this level of burden on them. And I know you're saying, well, it's only an hour and 40 minutes. It's a big deal between getting home at 10 o'clock and getting home after midnight on a weeknight for a lot of people. Really disappointed in the start time, and I think it really affected some of the crowd tonight. Strong Style Fitness is a great partner of the Renegades of Puck, and we sure do appreciate them jumping in the trenches with the Renegades of Puck. You can find out absolutely all you want to know about Strong Style Fitness by going to their website, strongstylefit.com, or look them up social media, Facebook, Instagram, and of course on Twitter. 150 workouts by a certified personal trainer, completely free to each and every one of you Renegades on YouTube. Tracy does an incredible job of helping you through your fitness journey, whether it is your first attempt to get off the couch or you've been at it for years. Wherever you are in your fitness journey, Tracy has a workout that is ready for you. New workouts coming soon. Very much looking forward to that. Stick taps, love, and respect to Tracy over at Strong Style Fitness for being such an incredible partner to the Renegades of Puck. Now, let's talk about some good things, and then let's talk about some very bad things. There were some good things in this game. Kyle Granlund was incredible. World-class distribution service. I believe he is going to take that title away from Ryan Johansson in this game. 2 assists, almost a third one. As a matter of fact, felt like he should have had that one. The pass was good enough, just the shot wasn't. The vision, the effort, all of it is there from Kyle Granlund. And of course, he goes out there and leads the forwards in time on ice again at 22-17 in this game. He picks up 2 assists. He blocks 2 shots. He does everything. He plays in all situations. 1:06 shorthanded, 6:24 in power play time on ice. And like I said, 2 assists in this game. He now leads the Nashville Predators in scoring with 5 points, all 5 of those being assists. And under John Hines, Kyle Granlund has become a player that could potentially be an all-star, could potentially win a Selke trophy one day. He is that good in all situations as a two-way first-line center for this Nashville Predators team. So Kyle Granlund, got to give him some stick taps for his efforts tonight. Also, Tanner Glass, you got to give him credit. His first goal of the season, his first goal with the Nashville Predators, and that release right there would have made you think it was Philip Forsberg himself or Eeli Tolvanen, but no, Glass has just as good a shot. So from the high slot, he absolutely blasted one right past the goaltender with that wrist shot. Stick taps to him for that first goal as a Nashville Predator. Gino with his goal bringing the jam as you would expect. He was physical. He did exactly what you would expect from him. He worked the corners. He worked behind the net. He gets a shot on net. He follows his own shot. He stuffs it in. Great job by Tanner Gino. Looking very much forward now that he's on the score sheet with his first goal of the season to him getting going and getting things moving. And the Herd line starting to contribute a little bit more offensively as we move forward. Now, those were a couple of good things, and it's easy when guys are scoring goals and making big plays. Those are easy things to talk about, and those are fun things to talk about. These things are less fun to talk about. In the power play, of course, you're going to hear a lot. Actually, no, you're not, because the local media is failing. Look, you know what I'm talking about. The radio stations, the TV stations, they don't do a good job. The alternative media, those of us leading the charge in the trenches right here, and all the other great correspondents and podcasts that you hear about on this show, yes, they'll be talking about it extensively, but I'm talking about you won't be hearing about it on morning talk radio or anything like that. The power play, it's abysmal at this point. 1 for 21 on the season, 31st in the league, 4.8%. And the note I made during the recap of the game, and I wrote it down again right here, I even added another word to it. I said, too much talent to be this mediocre. That first power play unit for the Nashville Predators, and let's face it, they were together last year. They were 6th overall in the NHL, and they have otherworldly levels of talent and skill that can compete with any grouping in the NHL. And when you are talking about having Roman Josi and Matt Duchene and Philip Forsberg and Kyle Granlund all out there together at the same time, you're just talking about an incredible lineup. Ryan Johansson also a part of that unit. They have to turn things around. They have to start getting things going in the right direction. And maybe Dan Hinote was right the other night when he talked about it during the Dallas broadcast, that they're trying a little bit too hard. This team and this first power play unit especially is simply too skilled and too good to be this bad at this point in the season. Through 5 games, it just looks terrible out there, and there are some power plays where they look absolutely lifeless, and that is something that cannot happen. Blowing a 2-goal lead in the third period to a team that played last night in Detroit and went to overtime and had a fierce back and forth, it's unacceptable. You have to step on a team when you have a 2-goal lead in your home bar barn in the third period, especially under these circumstances and under this scenario. The last 2 games did not go very well. You had every opportunity, an early lead, a lead in the third period on home ice, a team that should have been getting tired, and the Nashville Predators looked like the team that was getting tired in the third period. They got absolutely run out of their own rink, and it cost them a point. As a matter of fact, they're very lucky that they got any point at all in this one. The LA Kings simply gifted them one at the end of this. That's just bad right there. It's terrible, and it leaves people walking out of the rink really late at night feeling, frankly, pretty pissed off and disappointed that Matt Duchene took a penalty that late, and the power play was so ineffective that the Nashville Predators could not secure a victory against the LA Kings on home ice. Let's get some analysis from Sean C. Smith. Of course, you can find him on Twitter at SCSNSHA2Z Sports is where you can check out his work, or you can watch him right here on Renegades of Puck TV. Sure to appreciate Sean staying up late, jumping in the trenches, and filing this report.
Thanks, Charlie. Hey, Renegades. Probably sleepy this morning. If you are tuning in early, maybe you got lucky and got to sleep in late, but we all got to stay up late if we were watching this game, and unfortunately, it didn't turn out the way I think anybody but the Los Angeles Kings and their fans wanted it to. So, good news is the Preds came away with 1 point on the night because of the game going into overtime. The bad news is they didn't get that second point, and realistically, they should have been able to hold on to that lead and take advantage and get all 2 points and not give any to LA, but that's not the way things worked out. And if I had to point to one thing that was really responsible for what happened, I would say it was the penalties. And I'm going to be straight with you. I recall last season, penalties are such an interesting part of hockey. I mean, it seems like they happen all the time, and you kind of wonder, I think, if you're just a casual fan, like, how bad is it to get a penalty? It seems like the teams can, defend pretty well on the penalty kill. And it was interesting that last season we got a really good answer from Matthias Ekholm when he said that we expect to have, 2 or 3 a night. That's okay. We can deal with that. But when it starts creeping up past there, that's when it gets a little bit difficult. And so I think you see the plethora of penalties that the Predators incurred over the course of the game. That kind of puts you in a situation where you've got your penalty killers out on the ice a lot. That wears down those guys. And at the same time, it kind of leaves your offensive players sitting on the bench and kind of getting cold. Now, I'm not going to say that's exactly what happened, but the reality is the Predators spent a lot of time on the penalty kill. And when you are on the penalty kill, a lot of the time you don't have your high-scoring, offensively minded players on the ice for a lot of the game. And that's unfortunately where a lot of your goals are going to come from. So when you want to play the game that leads to a lot of penalties, it's really important to find where that line is. You got to draw a line and say, look, this is going to be okay. We're going to get away with this. This is unacceptable, and we're going to get called every time. And figure out how to prevent that from happening. Of course, sometimes that's got to be a situation of situational play and knowing your awareness, but at the same time, you also have some players on the ice that are known for committing a lot of penalties, and those penalties come when the players, quite frankly, try to make up for the lack of skill they have against their opponents with their stick. And that's not anything you want to see. You see tripping penalties, you see cross-checking penalties, you see guys trying to gain an advantage over a more skilled opponent by reaching out with that stick and trying to stop them. And that's unfortunately what's going to happen when you put those players on the ice, and that's what's going to happen when you can't draw that line and decide not to take a step over it. So, penalties, in Sean C. Smith's opinion, that's probably what cost the Predators this game. But the reality is, for most of the game, they seem like they looked a lot better than they did against the Dallas Stars. And if you're looking for a bright spot, I guess that's the bright spot. I'll also point out Cody Glass had an incredible goal to start the game off, and it came from a beautiful, just disgusting feed from Kyle Granlund, and that wasn't his last one of the night. He had another one on that second goal. Kyle Granlund's somebody that's starting to step up and make some noise out there. So, moving forward, keep looking for those guys to produce and look for the Predators to try to do their best to reduce those penalties. And if they can't get a grip on that, it's going to be a little bit rocky for the beginning of this season. Charlie, I'm ready to go to bed. That's all I got, and I'm going to send it back over to you.
He's the one and only Sean C. Smith. You can find him on Twitter at SCSNSH. A to Z Sports is where you can check out his work right here on Renegades of Puck TV. Sean stayed up late, filed that report, and you can tell it's having an effect. Such a late start time is causing a problem for the Renegades of Puck and probably for a whole lot of other people as well. Sean, thank you so much. I appreciate you doing that for us. Stripe Digital Solutions is another partner I want to bring your attention to right now. Check out their work at stripedigitalsolutions.com, an otherworldly digital partner, and you have to have someone like Brandy if you are going to succeed as a small business in the current mode that the world functions in. You have to have your social media and your brand building and your website and everything. It has to be top shelf, or else you are not going to be seen, you're not going to be heard, you're not going to be viewed, and frankly, you're not going to be able to stay in business. You have to have a strong digital partner like Stripe Digital Solutions, and I encourage each and every one of you, go to stripedigitalsolutions.com, check out their work. I can give you praise all night long, but just keep watching this show, and I'll keep giving you praise all season long. I can't say enough good things about Stripe Digital Solutions and about the work Brandy does to help us out here in the trenches. Time to get the box score and some numbers. Going down the goal scores for the Nashville Predators, Philip Forsberg. You got Glass getting a goal. You got picking up a goal in the assist category. Granlund has 2 in this game. Sissons has 1. Ryan McDonough picks up an assist. And you also in the shots category, Roman Josi with 7 leads the team. And Matt Duchene has 5. And Tanner Jeannot also has 5 shots on goal in this game. When it comes to hits, it was Luzon with 7, or Lozon, or however it was they were saying his name on the broadcast improperly. You would think somebody would get in the guy's ear and let him know that he was saying Luzon's name wrong the entire game. And it was Tanner Jeannot, second on the team in hits with 5. I mentioned Mikhail Granlund led the forwards in time on ice, skated 22-17. And it was Matthias Ekholm, actually, that led the team. Nope, I am incorrect on that. Roman Josi, 25-33 total time on ice, as is customary. The captain, Roman Josi, leads all skaters in time on ice. Mikhail Granlund leads the forwards, as you have come to expect. That leads us to Brian Baston from ontheforecheck.com. He's got the numbers you need to know, the charts you need to see. You can find him on Twitter at Brian Baston. I sure do appreciate Brian staying up late and filing this report for the Renegades of Puck. Brian, take it away.
Thanks a lot, Charlie. The Nashville Predators had a night they'd like to forget as they continue on a 3-game losing streak after a successful global series against San Jose to start the season. The big story for tonight for the Predators was the 9 penalties that they took, and that's not a foreign topic for us to cover here in Nashville, especially on this program. But something happened in tonight's game that has started to feel all too familiar to Predators fans, and that is the topic of tonight's one big stat. Tonight we saw 2 blown leads, a Velarde goal to tie the game at 1 early in the second period, and allowing a Matt Rogg game-tying goal with 2 minutes and 8 seconds remaining in regulation to cap off losing a 3-1 lead to start the third period. However, it's not only the late game leads that have been evaporating. Well, the Nashville Predators have made a habit early in this season, allowing opponent goals in the final 3 minutes of a period. Last season, the Nashville Predators were tied for 17th in the NHL with 49 goals allowed in the final 3 minutes of each period of regulation. If you narrow it down to just the final 3 minutes of the game, Nashville again falls flat at a mediocre 16th in the league with 23 allowed. Now, yes, these do include empty net goals, but the point still remains. A team that can't buckle down and play disciplined hockey in the final stretches of play is a team that will find themselves on the receiving end of an empty net goal more often than not. So how do they look this season? Well, as we said before, not that great. In just 5 games in this season, Nashville has given up 4 goals in the final 3 minutes of the period, including tonight's game-tying goal and 2 Mason Marchment goals that fell in that crucial late stage of the period. At this rate, Nashville is on pace for 66 of these momentum-killing goals, which would have them tied for 31st in the league last season. While last year, Nashville was pretty decent at protecting these late goals, but if they can't clean up the play of these first 5 games, staying competitive in the Central Division may be a tough road to go down. And that's tonight's one big stat. Back to you, Charlie.
You can find him on Twitter at Brian Bass, and you can find out his work at ontheforecheck.com. He's got the charts you need to see and the numbers you need to know. He's the one and only Brian Baston. He runs the Renegade Analytics Desk, and he works the stats for the Renegades of Puck in the trenches. Sure to appreciate Brian for taking care of that update right there. Time to close this one out. It is a late night in the bunker. Enough complaining about that. Let me tell you about something that's great, and slots are filling up quick, so make sure you get yourselves in and get yourselves reserved. This is a great Christmas gift, birthday gift. It's a great once-in-a-lifetime gift opportunity. Give yourself this gift. It's the road trip of a lifetime. It's the Renegades of Puck through Ships and Trips Travel, going to Las Vegas on New Year's Eve to watch the Nashville Predators take on the Vegas Golden Knights. Then we'll be celebrating New Year's Eve right there in Las Vegas. This truly is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I urge and encourage all of you to go to shipsandtripstravel.com to get more information, or just continue following along on all the different social media platforms here for the Renegades of Puck. We will continue mentioning it. We will continue promoting it as long as there are slots available. But please, this is New Year's Eve. This is in Las Vegas, and the only way you're going to get to experience this type of opportunity is through the Renegades of Puck through Ships and Trips Travel. So please make sure you mark that, and if it is something you're interested in, get your reservation in as soon as possible before all the slots fill up, because they will fill up and this road trip will sell out. It's just the beginning of many, many great events and things we have planned with Ships and Trips Travel. We're always up to something here in the trenches. Let me just give you some final thoughts real quick, and I've done a lot of complaining because I'm frankly a little bit sour after this game tonight. We all stayed up late. We all watched the Nashville Predators choke away a 2-goal lead in the third period, and frankly, they should have not done that. They were the fresher team. They had something more to prove, and they should have been able to pull this one out tonight, but they were unable to do that. And for the Nashville Predators, it's a bit of a troubling trend now. They've got an Eastern Conference game coming up against Columbus Blue Jackets on the road. They've got to get it together. Philadelphia, St. Louis, Washington, all coming up on a homestand before going out on the road for a huge 5-game road trip to the Northwest. Now, that's usually when they get their stuff together, but the Nashville Predators, frankly, don't have 4 more games to wait around before they start getting it together. They've got to start getting it together right now. Points early in the season are important, and they are critical. No, you're not going to lose the division or lose your chance to get into the playoffs right now in October, but you're going to make your road that much more difficult when you start out slumping like the Nashville Predators are. And let's face it, the only 2 games that they've won so far are against a very bad Pacific Division team in the San Jose Sharks. Against a playoff team in the Dallas Stars, they were swept easily, and the LA Kings, another playoff team, they weren't able to maintain a 2-goal lead. The Nashville Predators need to improve. They need to improve fast. They need to start with the power play. The defense could use a little help as well. For each and every one of the Renegades of Puck, I sure do appreciate each and every one of you jumping in the trenches with us. Again, give us a follow on all those social media platforms. Check out the audio version podcast. Check out the video podcast. And please, just keep supporting your local Renegades. With your support, we can and have been able to achieve many, many great things. And we will continue planning and achieving many more great things. We're up to a lot of things here in the trenches, and I hope to have new information for you on a couple of different projects and a bunch of different things coming up. You know us. We're always working on something right behind the scenes here in the trenches. I'm your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier. Stick, taps, love, respect.
Why? There's flashes of brilliance. There's good spots on this team. I saw it. It can be done. But there's something missing. I don't know what it is. But I know we can find it. I was there. I saw it. It's gonna happen. There's flashes of real brilliance. There's flashes of a fully formed team. But we can't get it together. And I don't know why. I don't know why. But we will. We can. We must. And we will. We're coming. You're next.